Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Man to Mad podcast with me, JB, Asher, and Tom. Yesterday, great day of NFL football. Tom, Jets were off after losing pretty easily on Thursday. The Browns won for me. So the only loser from yesterday is Asher. Asher, how you doing?
It's a bad day for me.
Yeah, understood. Especially,
didn't go well.
Yeah, it wasn't a good weekend for you, especially because I didn't even see it, but I saw it yesterday after we did the morning show. I didn't realize Minnesota had also lost on Saturday as well. Even though we did talk about it in the beginning, but I did. Yeah, not a good weekend for you, but we won't hurt you too hard. Other than that, Sam Darnold is the worst quarterback ever. I don't know, but we'll get into it. How you guys doing? How you doing, Tom? I told Tom that he looks miserable, and he makes me very happy that I never have to go to school or class again. Corey is
man. Corey, hello, buddy.
What's up, Tom? How you doing?
I'm doing okay, man. I've hit that point in this semester where I'm losing motivation to do things that keep me sane. So I haven't gone to the gym in a week because I've been doing a bunch of these group projects and group meetings for projects and stuff. And I'm just I want to get back to the gym. But then when I'm done with all of it, I have no motivation to go. So I'm trying to get back in the mindset. I'm going immediately after this, but I've hit that point where it's just school and I want it to not be just school.
Yeah, no, it's definitely obviously I didn't finish, but I don't know. I'm happy that I don't ever have to think about it again. But yeah, Asher, other than the tough sports weekend, how you doing, man?
I'm great. Living life to its fullest. Really depressing day yesterday, but I had some good food. We made some birria tacos. So
nice. Always got something to pick you up after a tough day. So yeah, there's a lot of storylines yesterday. Sam Darnold did not look good. He might be done in Carolina. Jordan Love does not look like the answer behind Aaron Rodgers. And like I've said before, all the guys I work with are Packers fans, and they were not happy with Love last night. And then I don't know what happened to Joe Burrow yesterday. But
I don't want to talk about it. 6 points for my stardom.
But let's get into it today with the trivia. Okay. I don't think I sent this answer on the outline. I'm almost positive I didn't. So here we go.
I never even got an outline anyway, so we're good.
I haven't seen it yet.
I sent it to you. No, I probably didn't send it to you, Tom. Actually, yeah, I did. All right. Amobi Okoye became the youngest player ever to play in the NFL after he was 16. Finished high school, eventually played for Louisville, and then found his way to the NFL. First-round pick of the Texans. Who is the second youngest player to ever play in the NFL?
Do you know their age? Can we get their age?
At the time?
Yeah.
19, I'm sure, but just a couple days before that guy?
No, I think he was 20.
Do you know the answer, Asher?
Yeah, I do. I think.
Okay.
Then spit it out.
Yeah, what do you?
I'm going with my boy in Minnesota, Danielle Hunter.
Yes, that is correct. Yes, I guess I don't know what age, but yes, I was going to ask the most. Obviously, Amobi Okoye. I don't think anyone would have got that, so I went with the second youngest, Danielle Hunter. He is very young, but then again, we see more and more. Jamar Chase was I think he started his first game when he was 18. So I don't know. It's crazy. They're getting younger. Yeah. I was going to show a clip of the Denzel Ward pick six, but it was more just for the call. I don't know if you guys saw it or heard it, but it was, just a great.
Live.
What?
I saw it live. I flipped the game
Nance was basically he had a great call and he said 100 yards to glory. Reminded me of American Pharaoh, the Triple Crown winner. And then before we get into our takes, I just want to apologize again to Mr. Bennett. He should have stuck today in Browns +2 with me. That won, but I'll make it up to him again at some point during this week or this year, this season. All right. So we're at a little new segment, basically just like your first thoughts of the whole day yesterday. What comes to your mind first? Asher, I'll start with you, man. What is not necessarily a hot take, but when you think about yesterday, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
A shit show. That's that's exactly that was my first reaction to the games yesterday. Not only because of the Vikings, but the Packers and Chiefs game was awful. It was a terrible game to watch.
So bad.
It was so bad. The Cowboys got rocked after beating Minnesota the weekend prior. So that was fun to watch, especially against Corey's Broncos. Not anything bad against the Broncos, but I don't think the Broncos are that great this season either.
They're 500.
Yeah. Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes putting up 10-point days. That's something you don't see from week to week. Just a bunch of underperforming players. Like that. That was the story headline from yesterday. It's just underperformed.
Okay. What about you, Tom?
Yeah, mine was going to be what the hell, because you look at just the scores without looking at fantasy whatsoever. Looking at the scores, a couple that we didn't touch on. The Jaguars edging out the Bills in a 6-9 game. The Bills only put up points after putting up 44, shutting out the Texans a couple weeks ago. The Falcons beating the Saints by 2. I know that we were kind of talking about Jameis not being there and the Carousel quarterback or whatever, but I don't think any of us really thought that Falcons were going to come out and put up a day like that. The Giants upsetting the Raiders. I know. Did the car go down? Was that the story of the game?
I have no idea. I didn't watch.
I don't know if you covered, but the 3-4 or the 3-5 Giants beat the 5-2 Raiders. You go down the list.
Derek Carr did not get hurt.
Jeez. He didn't.
I didn't think he did either. I didn't think he did either.
I saw he was down for a little bit. I just didn't see him come back up because I then went to red zone.
No, he threw 2 picks yesterday though.
Fair enough. The Colt McCoy led Cardinals putting up 31 points on the 49ers. And I think the biggest shock, I think Bills Jags in general is the biggest shock in general. But the second biggest shock is the Tennessee Titans put up 28, the Rams, who only put up 16. I mean, Stafford looked horrible. He looked like he was back on the Lions.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. The Titans are 7-2, but are they really 7-2?
I mean, they lost to the Jets as one of them, so that's like an additional 3 losses.
Yeah. The Titans, don't get me wrong, they have an above-average team. I just think that they are worse than their record, and the Rams should have put work to them yesterday but didn't.
All right. Well, you guys clearly don't know how to answer questions, Tom. I said, what was the first thing that comes to your mind? Not basically going over every game, but hey, whatever.
We just hit the highlights.
Well, we do go over every single game, Asher. So, but my biggest takeaway from yesterday is the Cardinals are very good and they are very for real, and they might be the best team in the NFL. That offense, shout out to obviously Asher first for bringing it up and then kind of me tagging onto it. That offense is quarterback proof. They didn't have AJ Green either yesterday. But I think or who?
D-Hop.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that yesterday morning, though. But yeah, I mean, they San Francisco didn't play well. Jimmy Garoppolo played horrible, but that's also a defense that is they make enough plays where I don't know. I just think right now. I think they're the best team in the NFL. And if you want to talk about a young corner who is not Trevon Diggs and doesn't suck, Byron Murphy is really, 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 really good.
And who doesn't suck? Throw that tidbit in there.
Yeah, I love it. I love the Cardinals. I think they're awesome. I love Cliff Kingsbury's awesome. And then I guess the only thing I had written down other than like the Cardinals thing is how soon until we see frequently these air raid offenses in the NFL.
It really just depends. I mean, I know over the past couple of years, teams were looking at getting like the next Lamar Jackson after Lamar Jackson's MVP season. People are like, oh, we need athletic quarterbacks. We need athletic quarterbacks that can run the ball, play the system well. Not a super air raid quarterback, but a lot of teams wanted that. But now you got people like Josh Allen coming out and performing, Justin Herbert, who's an air raid quarterback, Kyler Murray, who can do it all. So, I mean, I think the athleticism is really what we're trying to go for, not so much an air raid, but a quarterback that can really do it all. I think that's what we're going to be seeing for the next few years.
Dom, anything?
Yeah. I mean, the NFL has always kind of been a copycat league. If you look at who's done well first and then watch the rest of the league the next 5 years. Back when defenses were king, we saw these elite defenses formulate. And then there was that one team that said, screw that, we're going to put up as many points as possible. And now we're starting to see the offense come back. And I agree with everything Asher said. It's a copycat league. So I think and it's going to be all based around the quarterback that's developed in every aspect of the game. So do I think that the air raid offense is going to be implemented a little bit more? I would kind of argue it already kind of has, because we've seen an uptick in NFL and passing in the NFL in general. All these teams, you could consider a team like the Bills are an air raid offense because their running backs are trash, but they're great pass catchers. So I think it's kind of been a formulation of many teams building the way that Asher has said, through a quarterback that does it all.
Justin looks like he has a lot on his mind right now.
No, I really don't. I understand what you're saying, and you guys are probably right. But I mean, I guess I was kind of just more leaning into it as like the NFL, like for the last decade and even probably the last 20 years, has consistently every year moved more and more towards the air raid. Like I think there's a point where you won't see a running back in the game. They'll just have a fullback protecting the quarterback. Like I don't know. And I think it's going to turn into, in the NFL, you're either going to be a team like the Browns who have a system and you can get away with any quarterback, or you need to find like that special guy. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's interesting. And I'm honestly pleasantly surprised with how good their defense is. The Cardinals, I mean.
To add one more thing to that with the air raid offenses, I think the reason it's going more towards air raid and not just ground heavy is because of the talent and wide receivers we're seeing over the past couple of years. Like, we've been getting so many receivers into the league that just show up. So many. I mean, all the LSU wide receivers, the Alabama wide receivers. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown for the Detroit Lions. I know he's not a big name, but he's doing very well in that system. I mean, you just have so many wide receivers that were off the radar for a bit, like Deebo Samuel really coming in and showing that he could be a force to be reckoned with. You have quite a few wide receivers that might be subpar but are showing out. So
yeah, and I like to complain about refs all the time. I think they get worse every week of every year. They get worse every second they're on the earth. But it used to be the old saying is, well, if you run the ball, really only one bad thing can happen, and you can intercept or you can fumble it. So people like to run the ball like way early on. I don't know where I was going with that, but I don't know. I just lost my complete train of thought.
That's almost happened to me already twice. So that's where my head's at. So I'm right there with you. I've been managed to.
I know where I was going with the pass interference calls. Like now, when you pass the ball now, like you can catch it and get intercepted, but you could also get a 47-yard gain just because a guy grabbed you at the 5-yard line. So I mean, you've already seen like Carson Wentz. I'm pretty sure, like on the Colts, they have plays where they're like, okay, this is broken down. I'm just going to throw it up somewhere near the out of bounds and hope I get a pass interference, because they've been calling it all year. The only time they don't call it is on the Hail Marys, which I'm happy for, because that would turn into a clown show. But
yeah, just run into Hail Marys every single play.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you got speedy wide receivers like Paris Campbell and Mike Pitton on your team, just hucking the ball down the field is destined to get you a pass interference call. Those defensive backs can't keep up with those guys, so they're doing the next best thing. Yeah, trying to get away with it.
Yeah. So let's head to all the games. Like I said, we're saving. I will save the Minnesota and the Cleveland games till the end, just to see how much time we have. But I'm gonna, hop in, and I've kind of been saying this all along. We're gonna start with Buffalo versus the Jaguars. I like Josh Allen. I think he's one of the best quarterbacks in the league. yesterday is exactly why I don't think he's not ready to win a Super Bowl yet. Like Tom, me and you always talk about the mash the buttons plays that he does. That was the entire game yesterday. He had absolutely no control of what was going on. Doesn't help him they had no ground game for the most part, other than him. So I just don't think I think the Bills out of any team, like of the top contenders, like I'm talking the Cardinals, the Rams, the Bucks, like I think the Bills are going to be one of the teams that I think gets to the playoffs and flakes out early because they have these games once every 4 weeks where they just like. How do you explain if you're Josh Allen? Like, obviously it's very different looking at Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen. Josh Allen's clearly the better quarterback, but you look at what Baker Mayfield did yesterday, and he literally just managed the game. Like, I would much rather have what Baker was yesterday than what we saw in Josh Allen, and it's just. Like, I thought he kind of grew out of it this year, but it clearly not. Like, and just the fact they lost the Jaguars with Urban Meyer, and it's not even like they look good. Trevor Lawrence looked bad. That whole team did not look good. And Josh Allen got dominated by Josh Allen.
Yeah, I saw that as well. I mean, he had an interception, a fumble recovery, 2 tackles for losses, and a sack. Like Josh Allen owned Josh Allen that game.
Yeah, and it's just fun. Yeah. I mean, we don't really talk about him much, and I don't think really he's produced that much. I don't think, I think we would have heard more about him. But he was really good coming out of Kentucky. I remember him. He was really good.
If this really puts into any perspective, Jaguars won yesterday, and Trevor Lawrence barely threw for over 100 yards.
I know. Tom, you're the Bills defender here. You're the Josh Allen defender.
I mean, you look at the stat, turnover is not good. It's not okay. 2 interceptions and the fumble. Like, at the same time, he went 31 for 47 with 264. No touchdowns. They lost Zach Moss, which I think really hurts Josh Allen in general because Singletary is not a great pass catcher. And they don't run with Singletary because he ran for 6 attempts for 16 yards. You know, I'm not here to say that this was an okay loss because it's not. I just want to also kind of throw out there, like, I think that the game plan going into this was non-existent. I think this is what we call a look past game. And Justin, you talk about it all the time in your college repertoire. I mean, this was just the Bills saying, oh, we're so hot right now, we can't lose to a crappy team like the Jaguars. And just come out and put up a dud. So is it okay? Am I defending it? Not really. But Josh Allen putting up 264, like, that's almost for football fields. And yes, he had the interceptions and the giveaways that suck, but at the same time, like, someone else got to step up if he's clearly not able to.
Well, see, and then Ash, you can go in a second. I just got to get this on real quick. Then my problem with Josh Allen is that you can't label him an elite quarterback because elite quarterbacks
in one game.
Elite quarterbacks win that game.
Look at the other games that he has stepped up.
I mean,
So I have to agree with Justin here. I mean, elite quarterbacks, even if they have bad games, they still somehow manage to beat these types of teams. If you want to consider yourself an elite quarterback in this league, and don't get me wrong, I think Josh Allen should be in consideration for that. But it's the simple fact that even though he had a bad game yesterday, he still couldn't beat a terrible Jacksonville team.
I mean, Tom, I mean, throw me out one of the other elite quarterbacks out there that wouldn't have won that game, or that wouldn't have won that game. I think it's only Josh Allen.
Well, I'm looking at
Herbert. Herbert could have, I guess, as well.
I mean, I'm looking back, and I'm trying to get the numbers correct because I'm very particular about that. What about Patrick Mahomes? We all agree he's an elite quarterback. But yet he could not find a way to beat the Chargers in a shootout game. He could not find a way to beat the Ravens in a shootout game. Could not beat the Bills, and he couldn't beat the Titans. They put up 3 points.
And with that being said, who was the team that we opened, the player that we opened almost all of our podcasts with in the past? It's been Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs because they suck. He's taken it. So, I mean, we know, like, I agree. I think Josh Allen needs to be in the conversation, but he just can't. He has to know that he can't go out there and have this game and not expect to hear the boo birds. Shut up, Corey.
I'm not.
I was just playing devil's advocate here. Obviously, Josh Allen is one of the better quarterbacks in the league. It's just it's hard to see a guy like that play so inconsistently.
Yeah,
And I
think
he's an elite quarterback. I do. I don't. He's Brett Favre light to me. Like I feel like he's gonna go out there and you're never gonna get a clean game from him. You'll win most of the time, but you're not gonna get very many games where he doesn't have at least one turnover.
That could be said about any quarterback, though. It's more likely that they're going to mess up once a game when they're throwing for 50 attempts like Josh Allen does.
You think Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers, like you go into the game and think they're going to have a mistake? Because I don't.
You can't compare any quarterback to Tom Brady. Tom Brady's he's on a different tier himself.
This is not going to divulge into a Tom Brady talk because we all know that he is not the best quarterback ever. I mean, physically, he's not. Yes, he's the best winner ever. He's not the best quarterback ever, and it's not even close. So I'm not going to get in that conversation. And he's also no longer the most clutch athlete ever. That me and Tom, we talked about it yesterday, but you had to go. So Cristiano Ronaldo is the most clutch player in the world of any sport of any kind. But yeah, I don't know. I just really don't like Josh Allen. I don't like the and you said it yesterday. So I guess Asher, I have a question for you. Like I think Stephon Diggs is really, really good. I think he has an issue where he's not a big physical receiver and he's not really a burner. So he's more of like an intermediate guy. And like if I had the first pick in the draft or for a receiver, he'd be up there. But like, I don't know. He just hasn't found a way to be like the X factor breakout star that we've seen from him.
So I agree. He's not the biggest wide receiver and he's not the fastest wide receiver, but one of his best attributes, and might even be the best in the league, is his route running ability. The man knows how to run routes on a dime. He shakes players all the time. He's able to get open. The problem is trying to shake 2 or 3 defensive backs at a time. And when you see Stephon Diggs on the field, where do you think those safeties are going to be pulling to?
And no, this is true. And thank you for bringing that up. I mean, this is going to sound outlandish, but theoretically, it's somewhat fair. Stephon Diggs would flourish in Cleveland. With how good he is at route running and the timing, he would be amazing in Cleveland. And for a quarterback like Josh Allen, OBJ would be perfect for Josh Allen. Just running around, extending plays, just going deep every play. Obviously, that's not a fair trade at all, but Diggs would – I mean, anyone who has good route running is going to be good in the Browns offense. But, yeah, no, it's just a question about Diggs. I still think he's a top probably 2 or 3 receiver. It's just he doesn't seem to – or this year he hasn't seemed to make those game-breaking plays like you usually see.
Yeah, I see Stephon Diggs as a Keenan Allen-esque type player. With the great route running ability. Obviously, Keenan Allen isn't the fastest. He might be a little bigger than Stephon Diggs, but I see Stephon Diggs' game really compared to Keenan Allen the most.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I think he's a lot better than Keenan Allen, but I think everyone in the world underrates Keenan Allen. I mean, I do, so I don't know.
But I don't.
I do.
I'm a big Keenan Allen fan.
I don't.
Big Keenan Allen fan.
I think I'm going to come up with by the end of this week, I'm going to come up with a good nickname for Josh Allen. Oh, thanks, Corey. Let's talk about that. He would be getting underutilized in Cleveland. Yeah, probably, actually. I mean, every receiver is going to get underutilized in Cleveland because they run the ball 75 times. Anything else on this game? You said Zach Moss was out, but I mean, still just having absolutely no running game is not like you can't do that.
Yeah, they surrounded Josh Allen with passers, and Zach Moss is a better pass catcher than Singletary. And they need to implement a run game, but they want to utilize Josh Allen, and it's just – I agree. They need a better quarterback – or, excuse me, a better running back to complement the quarterback on the ground. Because Singletary just ain't it.
Now, to play the other side of devil's advocate, I think the Jaguars just played with an amazing game plan on defense. I think they figured it out going throughout the game, how to stop the Bills' offense. I think the Jaguars came to play, and they did a fantastic job at doing so.
I didn't watch much of it, but I mean, I believe you. It's still like unless the Bills win the Super Bowl, like the only thing I'm going to remember them for this year is that they lost to Urban Meyer. That's bad. It's not. Yeah, it's bad. Urban Meyer, like losing to the Jaguars, isn't that bad? But if it's Urban Meyer, it's pretty bad. All right, let's go to the next one. The next big shocker. Actually, Corey, too bad you aren't here. Let's head over to Dallas. Broncos versus the Cowboys.
You just try to. Oh, actually, I mean the Broncos won, so you're kind of just giving Corey
the Broncos won, so
yeah. I mean, he's saying bad stuff about me, but whatever. I get it every day. Yeah, I got a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I think this was an early game going on with the Browns. I didn't watch much of it. I saw the Broncos get up early and then they just won. So anyone wants to take it from here? Go ahead.
Javonte Williams, my guy. If he would have found the end zone, he would have had a hell of an even bigger fantasy day. The man had 111 rushing yards and 17 attempts yesterday. Javonte Williams is going to be a problem in this league.
Goated. He's goated.
Yeah, he's going to be a problem in this league. How about your boy Aquaman there, Tom? What did I say?
He got 7 fantasy points for a tight end. That's like high average.
How many?
He finished as I think it was like tight end 10.
How many does Freiermuth have to score?
How many does he?
He has to score above 10.
In what?
Oh yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, above 10.
Above 10.
All right. All right.
Anyway, Asher, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I was just talking about your boy Aquaman there. I mean, yes, he did have 7 points on the day, but I mean that's still not an absolutely astonishing performance. But I will agree with you. He did have a.
But it's
he was utilized. He did have somewhat of an above average day as far as tight end positions go. He did his job, but Tim Patrick really showed that he's a standout wide receiver as well. When he needs to be.
I've been on his train, man. I like Tim Patrick.
Who was guarding him for that touchdown?
Was it Trayvon?
Yeah.
Didn't he? He had a pick too, didn't he?
Trevon Diggs?
Yeah, didn't he?
Trayvon?
No.
Let me look.
Oh, I thought he did.
Oh yeah, he did have a pick.
I was gonna say I saw it because it was like everyone was ripping him, and then everyone loved him again on Twitter within like a matter of 10 minutes.
Yeah, he had a pick.
I don't have him having a pick on here.
Too. Yeah, it's Trayvon Diggs.
I don't see him having a pick on here. No, Teddy didn't throw an interception.
What is this saying then? Somebody threw an interception.
Unless the score is wrong.
Somebody threw a pick. No, I'm pretty sure an interception. I'm pretty sure the Cowboys picked one off too. I saw at least one interception, and on what I'm looking at right now, it says Trevon Diggs and Jalen Hurts both had interceptions. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, Corey. Yeah, I'm confused.
Let me run that back. They did not get any interceptions. It looked like they did, but
yeah. I was looking. I was like, "There's maybe
no
fumble,
interceptions."
But
yeah, no interceptions.
Yeah. Oh well, I mean that means I just came out on the right end there, so that's good. What was
bro?
I mean, what's Dak doing? Like, why did they not run the ball at all? Like, you guys are right.
So I saw that.
You guys are right. Like, I'm looking at. I remember looking at them yesterday too. These box scores, like, they just don't make sense. It's like half the numbers are missing. Like, I think I know rushed the ball 10 times.
Yeah, for 51.
I know he was hurt for a little bit, and he was not like in for I think a solid part of the half. But then they didn't get the ball to Tony Pollard, and we know we love Tony Pollard here. I
don't really love him, but
I love Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard's a beast.
I love Tony Pollard. He's good in Madden, yo.
Yeah, and
he's goated. I love playing with him in Madden.
Yeah, I mean, and we can always talk about like Diggs and their defensive backfield that's pretty good now. They still can't stop the run, so it really doesn't matter.
Okay, so I was looking at the box score, and to go back, it's pass deflections, not interceptions, but they're labeling it as interceptions on the box score for some reason.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
Yeah, that doesn't make much sense.
I was
to me,
looking. I was like,
All right. Unless anyone's got anything on that, 30-16 Denver, pretty big upset. But yeah, I don't even know what the line was in that one. Let's move on. These next two should be relatively quick. The Patriots versus the Panthers.
Oh my god.
The first things that comes to my mind when I think about this game is Bill Belichick really watered down the playbook for Mac Jones this week, which is fine, but yeah. Also, I will say that if we didn't do this podcast, I would have 100% said that this is the Patriots bye week.
Bro.
Anything on the Panthers?
I mean, Sam Darnold, I think, got hurt, and he's taking an MRI this morning. If he's out for this week, we're going to be seeing some PJ Walker time.
So, if you're the Panthers right now, are you all in for Deshaun Watson?
I don't think so, because I don't think that they have the money to do it. I think that their cap situation is subpar at best, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they loaded up on their defense.
If anything, I think they should be in contention for Odell Beckham, because we know his set salary is at, I think it's, Justin, what is it, $8 million?
Yeah,
whereas Deshaun,
I think they lowered it to 7.5.
7.5 as a buyout or something? Sure. So he's 7.5, but Deshaun is getting like 20, 25.
In what world would they pick up Odell Beckham? Like, he wasn't happy in Cleveland, and Baker's like a serviceable quarterback. Sam Darnold isn't even serviceable.
It's waivers, man. Who knows?
Asher, anything on the Pats Panthers?
No, I mean, this was just a really weird game because both teams looked like they were underperforming, but somehow Pats still ended up putting 24 points on the board. I'd say the biggest thing was Christian McCaffrey's back. Didn't find the end zone, but he did have 100 total yards in that game with 4 receptions.
Mm-hmm.
So not a bad day PPR for Christian McCaffrey. Obviously not his best day or his average day, but coming back off an injury, it was a pretty decent day for him. But yeah, he was saying, I think it was a really watered down game for Mac Jones. I think they just went for the win as far as play calls go. It wasn't much of a Mac Jones show whatsoever. It was just, hey, how can we get the ball in the end zone and win this game?
Did McCaffrey already sign his second deal?
I think he is.
He signed an extension.
He signed an extension. So, because he's got to be a candidate to get out of Carolina once his contract's over, I would think. I'll also say that one of the most underrated pickups of the offseason, and you kind of said it, Tom, earlier this year, Matt Judon is a beast for the Patriots. He's a beast.
Yeah.
He's been really good. All right. Let's go down south. Falcons versus the Saints. Falcons win 27-25. What I remember about this game is my father also has Kyler Murray as a starting quarterback for fantasy, and I told him to play Matt Ryan, and Matt Ryan probably had the best game on fantasy that he's had, I don't know, in 2-3 years.
In a minute.
The Falcons, once again, they just don't want to hold on to leads. They just want it to be close and heartbreaking and heart-ripping.
Vikings as well, and we'll get into that later.
Cordell Patterson is really good. I don't know if he's a good running back, but he's good in that spot, I guess, especially in the pass game. And then in the pass game. And then the Saints, I guess, what's the move if you're the Saints at this point? Like, do you sign Cam? Do you go make a late play for Deshaun Watson? Sign Phillip Rivers? Go back to Taysom Hill? I don't think Trevor Simeon's it. I don't think he can hold down the fort for the rest of the year to make the playoffs. Or if you're the Saints, are you just kind of tanking and hoping that you can draft a quarterback next year?
I think Saints are in a position. They're 5-3. Obviously, they have playoff contention, and all they want to do is continue to have playoff contention, especially being with a fan base like New Orleans. But at this point, I'm looking at Trevor Siemian's line. I mean, considering his completion percentage wasn't great, he still threw for 250 yards and 2 TDs, which is really all you can ask for, especially when you have the dual threat running backs and Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram as well.
Yeah, and I probably overstated it. He was serviceable, but I mean, I don't think he can get them through the rest of the season into the playoffs, unless Alvin Kamara goes off, which I don't understand why. I mean, I guess I don't watch much Saints games. I don't understand why Kamara doesn't have 50 touches every game. I don't get it.
I mean, he had the most. He led the team in receiving yards as well as rushing yards, so I guess that's enough. But
so I remember, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, where Drew Brees went down and the backup was Teddy Bridgewater, and he still came out and led him to like a 7-1 record. But that was with a really good defense behind him, and I think Trevor Siemian can win games for them as long as they keep like their defense in shape, and their defense needs to be on the top of their game, because going against Matt Ryan just had a career day. You have to take your hats off for him. He had a career day. He played well. So maybe Atlanta deserved to win this game, and Saints defense just couldn't keep up. Matt Ryan looked like he was playing in his prime during this game. Obviously he's out of it, but there's not much you could say about Saints situation. I don't think they go for another quarterback. I think they stick with Trevor Siemian and kind of work around with Taysom Hill in there to kind of experiment. But I don't see them pulling off a move to get a quarterback.
I probably go ahead, Tom.
I was just going to say, like, Matt Ryan, total yardage, he had 351 and 3 total touchdowns because he also ran one in on top of the 2 he threw. I mean, he had a fantastic day. But I agree with Asher. I think Trevor Siemian is going to be fine, personally, because I watched the majority of that game. The completion percentage.
He's going to be
I think
fine.
He's going to be fine. Like just they're going to ride him out. Like they're not going to make a move as you guys were saying. But like 25 for 41 is not great. But he threw for 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think he solidified himself at least for a couple of weeks. Hopefully, until they figure some sort of game plan out to help them win games. But I think that they're going to roll with him and kind of use Taysom Hill at their own discretion.
I think they need to go back to their defensive ways like they did when Teddy Bridgewater took over for Drew Brees that year. If they can get their defense together, Trevor Siemian will be fine. If they get into desperation mode, then maybe. If they start losing more and more games, possibly. It's just right now I don't see them making that move.
Okay. All right. It just got to suck for Saints fans, because if you think about it, like last week at this time, well, no, Jameis was still hurt last week. So maybe 2 weeks ago, like Jameis, and I do think Jameis and Odell would have been a good match in New Orleans. But I mean, now that they don't, Odell's not going to sign with them unless they claim him.
My biggest highlight of this game, I got to add, is where did Cordero Patterson learn to catch the ball? It's been a problem with him in the past, especially with the Vikings as well. That man dropped passes that hit him either in between the hands and the chest and the face mask, whatever it may be. And now this man's catching tiptoe passes off the sideline and somehow staying in bounds like a magician.
126 receiving yards.
I want to know where this man decided. Did he go to like Jarvis Landry, Odell Beckham catching academy or whatever he did? But you know what? As an athlete, he could play any position he wants to at this point.
Yeah, he's been good. Yeah. All right, let's head into another game that, I mean, if we didn't do this podcast, probably wouldn't know what happened. Raiders versus the Giants. Giants win 23-16 or 23-17.
16.
16. This was my kind of first thing. Like, to me, Mac Jones and Daniel Jones are like a clone, but Mac Jones is never really like we saw it. He gets watered down. Like they play smart with him, whereas Daniel Jones is asked to make some of these plays, and like some of the time it's horrible. Like it's god awful. It's fumbles. It's pick sixes. But the other part of the time he's actually pretty competent. So I gotta give my hats off to Daniel Jones right now, just to they're 3-5, but that there's not a lot of talent on that roster.
3-6.
But yeah, I mean, and then Devontae Booker, 21 for 99 yesterday. It just sucks if you're a Giants fan because if Barkley could ever go back to his college days and be healthy, and not have so many issues, he would be incredible in that offense. So I don't know. It was a good win for them, and and the Raiders are in for. They're going to struggle down the end, like they do every single year.
How did they score 25 if there's only one offense? Did they have a pick six or something?
It was 23 to something.
It ended up being 23-16. They only have one offensive touchdown, though. So I'm wondering, was it a touchdown on the defensive side? Oh, Xavier McKinney got a touchdown. Okay.
Yeah, pick six, I'm pretty sure, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. I mean, I agree 100% with you, Justin, that Daniel Jones and Mac Jones are both kind of the same style quarterback, but Daniel Jones is forced to make bigger plays. I'm just very confused as how he went 15 for 20, which is good, but threw for 110 total yards. That's less. I don't understand how that works. And I know that a majority of the 110, I want to say probably 38, I believe I saw the number as, went to Evan Ingram on his touchdown pass. So, if you take out that one pass, he's under 100 yards passing on 14 throws. I didn't know that was possible.
No, I didn't. I really didn't either. I don't know how you can win a game and only throw for 110 yards and a measly 1 TD.
Swagging out, baby. Asher, do you have anything on this game? Because if not, I need to make a very important announcement about this game. Tom, I don't know if you saw, Kenyon Drake is alive. He's among us.
Kenyon Drake is alive. I saw that.
He got 2 big plays. Yes, I saw it. So Kenyon Drake, did we draft him, Tom?
We did draft him as our replacement in case Jacobs got hurt.
Yeah, and then he's been starting for us all year, and I don't think he scored more than 3 points in a game. So it's probably why we only have 1 win in the league.
I think we ended up cutting him. Also, we don't have him on our roster anymore.
No, we definitely do because I got a.
No, you have him on your dynasty team in my league. You and I ended up cutting him for Elijah Mitchell, and it's been our saving grace.
Just so everyone knows, he's alive. He's kicking. He's there. All right, let's move to the. Just to be quick as well. Dolphins, Texans. I don't really get
Mike Gesicki's one-handed snag, though.
Yes, Sirski.
I like Gesicki. I wanted him. I wanted him on the fantasy team. Tyrod was not good.
No.
When do you think Coley just decides, you know what, let's just go with Davis Mills?
Never.
Never. Yeah. Neither option is great.
You guys don't understand. This is the guy who declined a penalty against the Browns just so he could punt the ball.
Yes.
I don't think anything's out. I don't think anything's off the pages for this guy. I mean, cool win if you're the Dolphins. All right, I guess I do have a hypothetical. If you're the Dolphins and you finish, 5-12 or something, you got the 6th, 7th, or 8th pick, what are you doing?
I mean, in any other draft, I'd consider going quarterback, but I just really don't think any of the quarterbacks this year are worth a top 10 pick. So I would try and trade down hypothetically, but if I weren't able to, I would probably get another defender because the defense is letting you down big time.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I think you need to start looking at the defense because I'm sure Xavier Howard's not really going to want to be there for very much longer, especially with his talent. So at this
he already won it out.
Yeah, I think they really just need to focus on the defense for a couple of years at least, and then try to figure out what you want to do on offense. Try to get players to want to play in Miami instead of just I don't know. Dolphins are both these teams are in big trouble, in my opinion. Both need a lot to work with. You just need to make a team that people want to play for.
I agree. These are both terrible organizations. I'd almost rather be in the Texans' position right now than the Vikings or than the Dolphins.
Than the Vikings.
Sorry, I really didn't mean that. I'm sorry. I really didn't. I don't know why I said it. I did not mean that.
No.
The Texans, basically, you got a new coach. You're basically just rebuilding completely. Like fans in Miami,
they don't have picks.
They do have some.
Measly picks.
All right, you know what? Whatever. Also, I hear what you're saying. You got to focus on the defense. I don't know if you're a head coach in the NFL if you can go out there next year starting to attack Tua. I just don't know. You can keep your job with Tua as your starting quarterback. And if that means they have to go out and sign like Ryan Fitzpatrick or something like that, then they have to do it. But not getting a quarterback in the next 2 years is that's not an option for Miami, I don't think. Unless you believe in Tua.
I wouldn't take a job from the Texans even if they asked me to, and I have no experience in the NFL whatsoever with coaching or nothing. I wouldn't. I don't want any part of the Texans organization. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I would take any job that the Texans offered me. I would take any job that any NFL team offers me. I will take a job that a minor league baseball team offers me. I will take a job that a high school baseball team offers me. I will take all of these jobs. But I understand what you're saying. It's a mess, but then again, I feel like you're building from scratch rather than the Dolphins. You're kind of having to build on the fly, I guess. Okay,
I don't know, man. That was tough. That's a tough situation to be forced into.
Yeah, I don't want to have to make the choice.
No. If I'm the enemy, I'm staying as an offensive coordinator another year.
It makes my head hurt.
All right, Packers Chiefs.
Gross.
Do we really have to talk about it? Like,
all right.
Honestly, I didn't watch any of this game. I'm not gonna lie.
Cardinals Niners.
Well, no, we have to talk about it.
Yeah,
but
we're gonna have to, but let's keep this brief.
Like, I really didn't watch more than probably 3 snaps because my friends were watching it in the apartment I was hanging out with. Like, Asher, you and I had a discussion yesterday about Jordan Love. It's safe to say that he was not either of our expectations. He looked very mediocre. 19 for 34, 190 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. And he did fumble, but they didn't lose it. So I guess no harm, no foul. He just looked lost out there. Like, he didn't know the plays almost. He was throwing it in weird spots at all times. And Patrick Mahomes, 166 yards and a touchdown is not good whatsoever either. And it just that this game was so it's supposed to be so much better and was going to be so hyped, and it just was not from any aspect of it.
No, I think the biggest takeaway from this game for me, I mean, I guess there's 2. Patrick Mahomes did not play a Patrick Mahomes game. He had the opportunity to. He had the opportunity to run the score up, and he just didn't do it. I don't know what's going through Patrick Mahomes' head. I don't know if it's the backlash from his family's crazy decisions or if his head's just out of the game or what it is. But my second biggest one is A.J. Dillon finally outperformed Aaron Jones. And Aaron Jones was the starter. Yes. So rushing, Aaron Jones did have more attempts, had more yards. A.J. Dillon went 8 for 46. Aaron Jones went 12 for 53. A.J. Dillon averaged more yards per carry, but A.J. Dillon also had more presence in the passing game as well. Coming out with 4 receptions.
Yeah, I'm seeing that now. Jones didn't even get a
reception.
Yeah. I don't even know if he got a target.
A.J. Dillon is trying to gun for Aaron Jones' spot. I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon because Aaron Jones is a baller, but A.J. Dillon is finally showing that he deserves at least a chance.
Yeah, I agree. I love A.J. Dillon, so.
I do too.
I think the biggest takeaway from this one for me, there were no TikToks leading up to the game, so the Chiefs won.
Oh, that's what I wanted to say. So did you guys see, they were talking about it on the broadcast, and I saw this on Instagram. Jordan Love's mom and girlfriend has been to every one of his games.
Yes.
And They found him in the crowd and they zoomed in. They were like the very last row of the stadium at the very top of Arrowhead. And someone took that and made a meme, and it's like, yo, Patrick Mahomes is going to put his family up there next game.
Yeah. When I saw the picture, I was shocked because like those are like tickets I buy or like, I don't know. That was weird. That was very, very odd. But there were no TikToks. So I guess if there's just no more TikToks, Patrick Mahomes will keep winning. All right. 49ers, Cardinals.
Finally a game that I'm excited to talk about.
You're not excited to talk about it?
No, I said finally a game I'm excited to talk about.
Yeah. Shout out to you saying, yes, you brought it up first yesterday that the offense is pretty much, I don't know if you would call it quarterback proof, but it's definitely good enough where it can hang in with the backup quarterback. I don't know. I'll let you take this one. Asher, Cardinals won 31-17.
I don't know if I'd say the offense is quarterback proof, but they're showing like it is. I think they're situational proof is what I was trying to get at. They have a lot of athletes on their team. They can make pretty much anything happen. I think the biggest takeaway from Arizona Cardinals offense is that even with Colt McCoy, they were still able to do something. And what about James Conner? James Conner, the absolute TD hawk yesterday. You don't get excited though, fantasy fans. Don't get excited. This is not going to be very consistent throughout the league. Or throughout the year, sorry. But Chase Edmonds, depending on how his injury looks, I would say.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't really think of this game as like a Colt McCoy showing out. I think this was James Conner getting an opportunity. Yeah. And like with Edmonds out, it's clear that he was the top backup at the beginning of the season, even though we all thought it was Kenyon Drake.
Yeah. So this was a heck of a performance by the Cardinals. They still pulled it out. Very scary team. I agree with you, Justin. They might even be the best team in the league right now. The way that they're performing on both sides of the field, I think the Cardinals are going to be a hard team to stop. But
I will say this: when I saw Hopkins was out yesterday, I didn't think they had a chance. And if you look at this team as a whole, other than Hopkins and Green, they're pretty damn young. Like most of their core defensive players are like at most third or fourth year players. Mm-hmm. They're very, very young. And you can see that at times, but they looked good yesterday. And yeah, you were spot on. It's like the situational, it doesn't change for them. So yeah. And then I guess with the Niners, what do you do if you're the Niners? What's their record? Aren't they 3-5?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I guess, and the answer could be not this year at all, but when does Shanahan go to Lance?
Next year?
Yeah.
Next year, I think. I don't think they're in a position where they'll have a chance to win their division, let alone find a wild card spot. So I don't think they have much playoff contention. I don't think you bring in Lance just yet, maybe at the end of the season or something, just to kind of see. But as of now, I think they're kind of just playing football. Get their players, the reps they need. George Kittle's back, had a 100-yard performance day with a TD. Brandon Ayuk finally had himself a game. Deebo Samuel had an inconsistent game. So, I mean, you have playmakers around you. San Francisco's in a weird position where they could try to push and win out, but I see it very unlikely. So I don't know. I don't know what San Francisco 49ers do. It seems to be like an unpredictable scenario.
I think you'll start to see like slowly and gradually more packages for Lance, I think. But I agree. I just don't think as bad as it gets, I just don't think you can put him in this year.
No.
And people say this all the time about the quarterbacks, like he's so young. Trey Lance is so young in terms of an NFL quarterback, and not by age, meaning by he's basically before coming to the NFL, he played 1.5 seasons at North Dakota State and 4 seasons in high school. So he's basically played 5 full years of football. So yeah, I kind of agree. I don't think you can go to him. I don't think he's good enough yet.
Well, and like as much as it hurts me to say, like Garoppolo did have himself a really good game. I mean, he threw for 330 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. And Justin, you were talking about the Cardinals defense. They got 5 sacks on Garoppolo yesterday.
Yo, how about Troy Hill from the Browns with 2.5 sacks yesterday?
That was pretty nice.
Sorry, you just made me think of that. Sorry. Wait, you said Garoppolo had a good game? I could have sworn I saw him. He had a terrible game.
He went 28.
Go ahead.
Yeah, 28 for 40, 326, 2 touchdowns, and an interception. And he got sacked 5 times.
Looks like Mac Jones was in a dirty play over this weekend.
Yeah, he grabbed someone's foot, and then he ended up getting hurt. Like he fumbled or something, or like got waxed, and the guy that hit him got up and started running, and he like grabbed onto his foot like this, and ended up hurting him. But I think I saw something saying it was protocol. Did I see that?
I don't know.
Oh, look.
No, but yeah, Jimmy Garoppolo, for the type of quarterback that he is, I think he had a great game yesterday. It sucks that his offensive line turned into Swiss cheese, got sacked 5 times. But I mean, all around, Jimmy G did what he could. Cardinals just look phenomenal.
Yeah. All right. On to the Chargers versus the Eagles. Herbert had a really good stat line. I don't know if it's more of the scheme he's in, but I do think Herbert's really good. But I do think that's a pretty pass-heavy team. They do have a lot of athletes. The Eagles on defense are horrible, especially in the secondary. Herbert was the 5th passer this year to pass for over 80%, complete over 80% of his passes against the Eagles this year. So they've been horrible. Jalen Hurts, like their offense wasn't terrible, but I once again, it's something I don't know how you can go forward with Jalen Hurts. I don't know. What do you guys got?
Oh, it's tough. I was so big on Jalen Hurts this week. He was my starter quarterback. I thought since, Chargers had a good opportunity to run up the score that Jalen Hurts would do something, but he proved me wrong. I think Jalen Hurts is super inconsistent. In the beginning of the season, he was lighting it up. At least 25-point average or 20-point average in fantasy. And now it's just he's playing weak game all around. I like to see Kenneth Gainwell finally get a touchdown, even though he had 2 attempts for 3 yards. Still got a TD, finally. But it seems like they're going more towards Jordan Howard.
Where's Miles Sanders?
Didn't have a touchdown.
Miles Sanders is hurt.
Okay. I thought so.
Jordan Howard had a touchdown, yeah. But it's nice to see Justin Herbert finally have a good game. He's been inconsistent this year as well, but Justin Herbert finally showing up. Keenan Allen with 12 receptions and 104 yards. Great game by him. It just sucks that the only 2 TDs that were thrown were to 2 individuals that I didn't even really hear of.
Yeah, I still don't know this one guy's first name. I'm not going to lie. Anderson?
Yeah.
I had never heard of him before.
No, not one time.
And then Chicken Parm scored 1.
Yeah.
Chicken Parm.
That's
Parm.
Yeah.
Parm.
They call him Chicken Parm.
Weird. Yeah, I mean, if you're the Eagles, do you take a quarterback again this year?
I think you almost. I don't know. I think you have to, but I think they have other needs that they need to address.
Oh,
Yeah.
I completely agree. But you're saying they have to with Hurts there, but you don't think the Dolphins have to? No, I actually think that's 2 very different situations. So I can see where you're coming from, but I mean, I do have to bring it up.
I think I don't know. It's tough. I see both teams needing to address certain needs before quarterback. I don't think either of them should go for a quarterback. The quarterback class isn't great unless you have like the top 3 picks. Maybe you'll snag a quarterback that I don't know. In my opinion, both teams need to address other needs before they go to quarterback.
Yeah, I actually don't really think the Eagles need to take a quarterback. I think that they just need to build up around Jalen Hurts, because I honestly could see Hurts being that game manager that we sort of see. I mean, he went 11 for 17, which, like, if you're going to try and stay in the game, you need to be throwing the ball more than 17 times a game. Threw for 162 and a touchdown, but of that 162, 116 of it went to Devonta Smith. That just shows that the team is very incomplete and does not sorry, I keep getting updates on people's injuries and MRIs.
Same.
But it shows that the team's incomplete, especially on the offensive side of the ball. And the fact that Hurts also ran for as many times as Boston Scott also should scare them, because he's not getting enough time in the pocket. So I think, if anything, obviously the defense on the Eagles is subpar at best, to say. So they need to focus on that. But I think that getting a couple of linemen in this draft will do them wonders. And I think it'll help Hurts in the long run.
When Hurts has a good game, he has a good game. He looks like a complete quarterback when he has those games. It's just he needs to find consistency, and he needs his line to back him up during those moments as well. So I think if anything, the Dolphins need a quarterback more, and if there's going to be a team looking for a quarterback out of the two, I think it should be the Dolphins, but I don't think either team should be really looking for quarterbacks, more so finding weapons to kind of build around them to see what they can do with a system that works for them.
Especially when they're so young and they're already have the skills of guys in the NFL that last a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you guys 100%. I just know, we've even seen it. I mean, if you get the right quarterback, you can turn your franchise around in half a year pretty much. So people are always just going to value the quarterback way higher than everything else. But it is what it is. All right. Another LA team, Rams at Titans. Titans 28-9. Another game. Just what the fuck? I mean,
the Derrick Henry-less Titans that we all thought were going to get shellacked, absolutely shellacked one of the best teams in the league.
This turned into a running back by committee for the Titans with Derrick Henry out. Everyone was super big on Adrian Peterson. He went for 10 attempts, 21 yards. He did get a TD, I will say, but I think I don't see how this team gets 28 points with Ryan Tannehill's performance yesterday, and the running back's performance yesterday. This is another game that really doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to look. Did they have a defensive touchdown? They had one.
They had
Kevin Byard had the interception for the pick six.
Okay, so they had two people running in. Ryan Tannehill ran a touchdown in for himself. Adrian Peterson got one, and then there was a passing touchdown.
Yeah, the passing touchdown went to Swam of all people.
So it sounds like the Titans must have just had an outstanding defensive game.
Which is just shocking when it's versus the Rams, who have been the most high-powered offense this year, and how the defense, which has been one of the most high-powered defenses this year, gave up 28 points to some nobodies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way the Titans won this game, I don't think it's sustainable. I mean, you can't keep winning like this, and I don't think they will keep winning without Derrick Henry. I just don't think they're that good. And I don't think Ryan Tannehill is that good.
Stafford got sacked 5 times too.
Yeah, it is crazy that Adrian Peterson scored a touchdown in the NFL last night. Like, it's just it makes me feel terrible.
I love how you said that. Adrian Peterson scored a touchdown in the NFL last night. In the NFL,
not the Arena Football League.
Yeah,
the
not
NFL.
flag football, not rec flag football,
but the NFL. Man.
But yeah, other than that, yeah, I mean the Rams. The NFL is turning into college football for me, where it's just like I don't know who's good and I don't know who's bad. I guess I do know. We do know that probably the Cardinals are really good, and then who knows? All right, well, we got a lot of time, or we got some time. Get into obviously what me and Asher want to talk about.
Hang on, there's some insight from Papa.
Totally control the game. If they could play that way, it would be unstoppable.
If they could, that's the question. Is the if?
Yeah, Taylor Lewan isn't like hurt every week. I don't know. I think the Titans are frauds. Without Derrick Henry, I just think they're frauds.
Is this offensive line or defensive line? Because if it's an offensive line, it doesn't matter. You still need a quarterback that can throw for over 150
I mean,
yards.
I'm assuming it's the D line if they got to Stafford 5 times and forced him to throw that ugly interception.
Yeah, I completely agree with him. They could be unstoppable if they could figure out an offensive identity without Derrick Henry.
Jeffrey Simmons was awesome last night.
Yeah, he tore it up, I think.
Well, I'm telling you he did. So, yes, you don't have to think anymore. You can just say, yes, he tore it up.
Defensive line, okay. Yeah,
that makes
I
more
like
sense.
That's good. Yeah, they did. Honestly, the defense showed that they were out there to play the game.
And everyone wanted to talk about how much they overpaid or whatever for Bud Dupree. He's having a pretty damn good season. So,
I actually haven't been keeping up with him.
That might not be true. I may have just come up with that in my head.
No. I'm not saying you're right or wrong. I genuinely haven't followed Bud Dupree because I kind of forgot that he changed teams. I kind of forgot that he was on the Steelers last year.
All right, Asher, we won't make you wait anymore. Tom, continue what else you're looking up. Let's move on to the Ravens versus the Vikings. Baltimore wins 34-31. Lamar Jackson, the comeback king. Other than that, the only thing I have to say is I think he still sucks at passing.
He cannot throw the ball.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Dear God. Yeah.
Okay, wait. Quick. 2 things maybe. Did you see the video of Justin Jefferson blocking on that one play? That was incredible. Someone tweeted that at me yesterday at 11 o'clock at night, and I swear I watched it 30 times straight.
I did too.
Had no idea what was going on. But that run by Dalvin Cook, that was the other thing I was saying. That was a sick run. I don't think any other running back in the NFL makes that run the way he cut and Dalvin Cook. I've
maybe
always
McCaffrey.
I've never really liked Dalvin Cook, but that was impressive. But go on.
This is hard for me. You said Lamar Jackson comeback king. It couldn't have happened against a better team to have a comeback against because the Vikings can't hold on to a lead to save their life. This is the story of the year for the Minnesota Vikings. We play to our competition. We can win any game that we play in, but we happen to find some way to lose at the very end. It happened against the Bengals. It happened against the Cardinals. It happened against the Cowboys, and now it happened against the Ravens. That's 4 losses where we could have won the game if we held on to a damn lead. 4 games. We could be.
But hey, look at it this way. You could have also lost to the Lions on that same type of. You could have 5.
But that's the thing, though, is that the Lions are so bad that we did happen to win the game. We got lucky, apparently. I don't know. But when it comes to playing to our competition, for some odd reason, Mike Zimmer just can't find a way to end the game.
Well, people always say that, and I've always said this as a Browns fan in the past, oh, it's so bad, losing. It's so bad losing. No, what you're going through is 100 times worse than what the Browns ever did because before the game even kicks off and the Browns used to play, I had no expectations, no hope or anything. So it's much worse when you go out there and you're especially when you get down to it in the last couple of plays and you lose because you put your whole energy into the day. It sucks. I do feel bad. That sucks. Because like I said, that is worse than being the Texans or the Jaguars or anything else. Because even if you're those teams, you can almost laugh at in the Jets, of course, but that sucks. That sucks.
It's so hard. It's so hard. Oh my gosh, we could be 7-1 right now. Just thinking about it.
Hang on. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Kirk Cousins is your quarterback.
But there's still 4 games that we should have won. That's the thing that sucks. Is there's 4 games that we easily had, but we just couldn't hang on to the lead. We should have beat the Bengals. We should have beat the Cowboys. I mean, the Cardinals, I'll give it to them. It's kind of hard to hold the lead against the best team in the NFL right now. But we could have beat the Ravens too. We should have beat the Ravens. But, that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that sucks. I hate Lamar Jackson so much.
And I think Mike Zimmer gets fired at the end of this year. If not,
I was gonna.
sometime
I was gonna,
game.
yeah.
I didn't know if I was gonna bring up this week's or maybe next Sunday or anything, but I mean, yeah, he at some point because I remember last year they were bitching at him too. Like,
Our
I guess I
players
don't know
are
the
so
full
pissed
situation.
off. Our
I don't know.
players
I
are
guess I
so
don't know the
pissed
full
off.
situation. Maybe you can fill us in, but yeah, I've been surprised he's still the coach. Even I think.
So we had faith in him because he was a defensive guru. Like he led some of the best defenses, not only the Minnesota Vikings have seen, but the league has ever seen. And now it's just kind of we've just lost all identity in what we're trying to do in the game. It seems like we wanted to go to the run, and then all of a sudden we have a great passing team, so we decide to go to the pass, and we do that the next game, and then it breaks down, so we try to panic and go back to the run. It seems like he doesn't know what to do anymore. And with as much talent as the Minnesota Vikings have, we can't be 3-5. I'm sorry, we can't. The head office needs to figure that out and need to make some changes. The coaches under him are starting to get pissed off too. A guy came out was like, "Listen, we just have to win football games. It's plain and simple. We have to find a way to win games and not just try to hold on.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
Play to win, not play to hold on."
Yeah, it's terrible to talk about, and it sucks because it does suck. Like I said, it sucks when you put everything into it.
We have so much talent on the team.
I would agree. Did Justin Jefferson have a good game yesterday?
Oh, absolutely.
100%. He had a great game yesterday.
Justin Jefferson balled out.
Yes, cool. Well, I think I used him as one of mine starters, I think. And I think I bet him over 77.5 yards.
He did not get over 77 yards.
He didn't?
No.
He did.
No, he didn't.
What?
He balled out. He balled out in the sense in the first quarter. He had a 50-yard bomb caught for a TD.
Dude, he had 69 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
Oh, that's tough.
It was 77.5.
I know, but that's only 8 yards.
I lost a lot this weekend. Just add it to the other seed. So, all right. I guess unless anything else, Asher. But if not, move on.
I'm done talking about these guys.
All right.
He's bad.
At least listeners out there, I guess Asher's very sad. I'm pretty happy today. So
I can imagine.
All right, wait. Let me get my one quip in about the Bengals, and then we could talk all about the Browns. Joe Mixon is amazing, and he is a good running back. And I've made several bets about Joe Mixon this year with some of my friends, and he has proven them wrong. I love Joe Mixon.
Okay. Okay. I mean, obviously the Denzel Ward pick six. It changed the entire course of the game. That was that was essentially a 14-point swing. So I don't know if they don't get that interception, I don't know if they win the game. But obviously that's going back and kind of overpicking things. And I want to come in here and have an explanation or a reasoning or anything like that, but I don't. It's just the Browns are better without Odell Beckham. I don't know why. There's nothing really to back it up other than the sense he doesn't get the ball when he's with the Browns. But I mean, Baker wasn't perfect yesterday, but everyone wants to talk about he shut everyone up. All right, everyone needs to calm down a little bit. He was 14 for 21 with 2 touchdowns. He only completed 66% of his passes. Let's not get too excited here. But it was a big game for him. And yeah, like I said, I don't know how they're better without OBJ, but they are. And then that was awesome yesterday because it shows what the defense can be if they're fully healthy. Everyone in the secondary was back there yesterday, except for obviously Owusu-Koramoah, who I think if he would have stayed healthy, would have been in the running for Defensive Rookie of the Year. He has been really, really good. But yeah, I mean, Nick Chubb, I think he's the best running back. I think he's the best running back in the league at this point. it's almost surprising that he's gotten. I think he's gotten faster than last year. I like when he was a rookie in the second year, he didn't have the burst like he does now. I would like to say I think the Browns are going to be great because I think they're just going to, run the ball and pound teams. I don't think that. I think they're going to try and be tricky. I do think they'll end up at least being in contention for the playoffs, but what they really should do is run the ball 50 times a game and hit play action every once in a while and let your defense win. And then the only other thing I say is Wyatt Teller, the Browns right guard, is in the conversation as one of the best guards in the NFL. He's probably up there with Ali Marpet and probably Quentin Nelson when he's healthy. But Wyatt Teller, I mean, the trading for Olivier Vernon to the Giants was a terrible move, but it did give Kevin Zeitler is the right guard, and now we have Wyatt Teller. So pretty happy about that. And then I guess the last thing is, if you want excitement, don't watch the Browns because it's become very clear that they are at their best on offense when they're in 13. 3 tight ends, 1 running back. So I wouldn't expect anything too, crazy other than maybe some Nick Chubb runs. But, yeah, it was a hell of a win yesterday. I don't know how the Bengals have won games because they didn't look good at all yesterday. And I don't think – some of it was the Browns' defense, but the Bengals just looked bad. Joe Burrow, I love Joe Burrow. Some of his throws were and then obviously Jamar Chase was bottled up a little bit. He's going to be great, but, that's another case in point where had Cincinnati maybe drafted one of the Penei Sewell, that game could have been closer, but you can't really reminisce about what that is. I don't know. You guys got anything?
Joe
Mixon. Burrow had Joe Mixon.
Yeah, no, Joe Mixon finally staying healthy, showing what he can do for an entire year of football. The guy is a good running back. He is a good running back when he can stay healthy. I think that's why most of your friends, Tom, are like, yeah, he's probably not going to be great because most people expect him to get injured at some point. But he has held his own for 9 weeks now, and he's looked great. So I hats off to him. Browns found a way to stop Jamar Chase. They stopped T. Higgins as much as they could. T. Higgins still had a decent stat line, no touchdowns, but 6 receptions for 78 yards is nothing to shy away from. He did pull off a couple big plays, but you hit the nail on the head with the whole Browns defense. Browns defense looked vicious yesterday. They were all over Joe Burrow in that offense. They had to rely on Joe Mixon's legs quite a few times. So hats off to the Browns. They played a hell of a game.
Tom?
Yeah, Burrow had not a great day. Obviously, 2 picks. Jamar Chase fumbled another time, so those are the 3 turnovers, I believe. I think, though, he went for almost 300 yards, didn't he? Didn't he go for like 280 something?
Yeah, other than the turnovers, he didn't have a bad game.
Yeah, and he went 28 for 40, so he's almost at 75% completion. So not a terrible game, but I think the real story of this game was the Browns defense came out to play, and they came because they were healthy. We could also hypothesize that the Jets knocked the Bengals back down to their size. Just saying, you're welcome. Did everyone a favor, but
whatever.
But yeah, I think that it was just the tale of 2 teams here. One team was firing on all cylinders while the other was floundering every time they came close to scoring.
And it's so weird for me because obviously, I ripped Josh Allen at the beginning of the show, and I still will continue to. But when Joe Burrow has the games like yesterday that he was not very good, I'm always like, oh, he's going to be fine. He's just going to be fine. I don't know why. I don't know why I can just constantly think that, but I'm always like, yeah, he'll be fine. He'll be fine. At some point,
the 2 had similar games.
At some point, he's not going to be fine, and that's going to be an issue. But, yeah, it was a good win yesterday. Cool. All right. Monday night tonight. Let me look at the line. Who you guys liking Monday night tonight?
Pat Freiermuth.
Okay, shut
Yes, sir.
Ooh. All right. I'm looking at some player props. See if I can find Freiermuth. Yes, he's on there. Total receptions over under 3.5.
He'll get 4 receptions.
Over.
He's going to have 100 yards and a touchdown.
And then receiving yards over under 35.5. Wow, they don't really think he's very good.
Over.
All right, whatever.
Over.
All right, so like I said, we have a little new segment. The lines are out for next week if anybody wants any of them.
We do have a question here.
We do have
yes, go ahead.
The Bengals, the Bills, or the Packers, who suck the most? Who hurt themselves the most?
Go ahead, Tom, if you're dead.
I mean, I think they're one and the same. I think it has to be the Bills. I mean, it's the Jaguars. I understand we talked about a little bit how the Jaguars just had a really good game plan coming in defensively. But, like, I'm pretty sure the Bills made a bunch of mental mistakes and a bunch of mistakes that shot themselves in the foot. So I'd go with the Bills for both of those.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. The Bills for sure. I like to think that the Bengals should have had a better game against the Browns, but I think in the Bills situation, it's a lot worse against the Jags. 2 times, 3 times, 4 times is worse than the Bengals because the Bengals played a good team, but the Bills did not. They played the Jacksonville Jaguars and they lost 6-9. That was an embarrassing performance by the Bills. Yeah. Not so much by the Jags because we expect the Jags to put that up, but the Bills was embarrassing. So I think for both those questions, it's the Bills.
Yeah, I think the Bills suck the most. That's for sure. I think the Bengals might have hurt themselves the most because, I mean, obviously the Browns lost last week to Pittsburgh in the division, but that's going to be a division where there's a pretty good – the AFC North is a division where there's a pretty good chance that 3 teams will make the playoffs. So losing an interdivisional game is never good. Whereas, I mean, the Bills lost a division game as well, but I just don't think it matters as much because the AFC East isn't that good.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I think the Bengals losing anytime you lose in division for any of the division AFC North teams, I think it hurts you pretty bad.
Yeah, I like that.
All right. So like I said, who won the weekend? Who lost the weekend? Be a team, player, announcer, referee, whatever. I'll start with you, Tom, then we'll go with Asher, and then I'll finish it off, and then we'll go to our losers, and we'll get out of the hair.
As far as biggest loser goes, I mean, we kind of just talked about the Bills, so I'm not going to harp on it too much. I also don't know if you guys have have you seen the discussions about the Madden Curse?
No, but it was about Josh Allen, right? Because I searched Josh Allen, I think either last night or today, and something came up with Manning in it. I don't know what it is. I didn't click on it.
The Madden Curse is essentially the Madden Curse, but week to week. So Madden Curse, obviously, if you make the Madden cover, you're down for a bad season, is like the theory or whatever. Well, everyone who's been on the Monday night broadcast with the Manning brothers has lost the next week, whether it was Tom Brady and Gronk, the 2 times that they lost, they each went on. Next week they lost, and now Josh Allen lost, and I think there was someone else. Oh, Russell Wilson, when he was on, he lost the next week. So Josh Allen, latest person to be affected by the Manning Curse on Monday night. So I thought that was hilarious.
All right, who won the weekend then?
Oh, I wasn't sure if we were going through and everything.
We are. Asher, you're up. You're up. Asher, you're up. Loser.
All right. I'm gonna switch it up. I'm not as much as I'd like to go Josh Allen and the Bills. I'm gonna go with the Packers as a team. The Packers, obviously, they came out with their backup because Aaron Rodgers had COVID, and the Packers are going to be in trouble. Not quite sure if Aaron Rodgers is going to want to stay a season. Devontae Adams has also been talking about not wanting to stay another season. The Packers are going to be in trouble if they can't find a quarterback, at least a decent backup or something, to win games for them. They have trouble on their hands because Jordan Love did not look like a good quarterback. He did not look like somebody that can go out there and play football. So the Packers are going to have to figure out something to do. Aaron Rodgers, he was pissed off that they drafted Jordan Love and not more weapons for him to try to compete for a Super Bowl, and it's bitten him in the ass. So I think the Packers are the biggest loser.
Yeah, mine are two. My winner and loser are pretty kind of obvious. I would say the loser of the weekend is Odell Beckham. I mean, he's forced his way out of two teams now.
Fair.
He's forced his way out of two teams now. The Browns seem to look a lot better without him. And whether he likes it or not, and I don't necessarily agree with it, he's come out of this looking worse than Baker does, I think. And to him, he was a big loser. And the fact is that with the way that it worked out with the waivers and everything, he could still be scooped up by a terrible team, and he'll force his way off that team. But yeah, it's pretty easy for me.
That's fair. I actually kind of forgot about Odell.
Ashley, you can go ahead with your winner of the weekend.
My winner of the weekend is going to be Jonathan Taylor for the Colts.
Yeah, damn it.
His stat line was amazing. He's finally looking like the generational talent that the Colts have been trying to look for him to be. He's had his issues in the past, but for the past couple of weeks, the man's been lighting it up. And yesterday, I know it's against the Jets, but he put up, after 19 attempts, he put up 172 yards on the ground alone. He's phenomenal in pass catching. Obviously, his stat line yesterday wasn't great pass catching, but he has proven that he is a good pass catcher too. So I think that Jonathan Taylor's finally performing to what they drafted him for. I think Jonathan Taylor's my winner.
I'm so happy I got to pick him up on my team.
Your Pirate League, did you get him now too?
Oh yeah, I got him.
Of course you do.
All right, Tom, who won the weekend, my man?
I was gonna go with Jonathan Taylor. I was kind of hoping that since it was on Thursday night, people forgot about him.
Nope.
But I'm gonna take a different spin on Asher's take here. Not his take per se of the winner, but his take on the loser. I think the biggest winner is going to be Aaron Rodgers, because Jordan Love came in and looked absolutely disgusting, and it goes to show how much of value Aaron Rodgers brings to that offense. So that not only will the Packers do everything in their power to get him to stay, but if he is going to go to the Steelers next year, like we're all talking about, they're gonna pay him the big bucks to come in and fill the void there. So I'm going with Rodgers there.
I like that. The Packers are still a loser, but Aaron Rodgers, I think, is a winner.
I was going to say,
but Aaron Rodgers is a winner.
You guys are both 100% right that the Packers are humongous losers, and Aaron Rodgers, he already pretty much had the city of Green Bay at his fingertips. He just now owns the whole city. So yes, those are really good ones. I'm going to go a little off the beaten path, and I think Cliff Kingsbury won the weekend. You want to talk about Cliff Kingsbury? 6 or 7 years ago, he was fired from Texas Tech, then took the offensive coordinator – or no, then he went to Oklahoma, and then he took the offensive coordinator job over the summer at USC, somehow found his way to a terrible franchise in the Cardinals, and now they are, if not the best, one of the best teams in the NFL. And he just showed that his offense that, granted, I agree with you guys, it's not that much different than a lot of the other offenses, but he has come in and shown that this offense can and will stick. And it's just, it's a meteoric rise for a guy that sucked at actually playing college football, was okay at coaching it, and is now, I would have to say, if you were to vote on Coach of the Year right now, I would have to say it's Cliff Kingsbury.
I do too. He came out filthy for the past couple of years or so, because when he fucked around and decided to ride with Josh Rosen, he almost has to thank him at that point for getting him the number one pick and scooping up Kyler Murray. So even though Josh Rosen almost cost you your coaching job, you almost have to thank him and give him a big smooch on the cheek or something for giving him that number one pick. Because Kyler Murray's worked wonders for Cliff.
Can I add a honorable mention for biggest loser?
Yeah, of course. You
I'm
can't
gonna
say
add
Asher.
Zach.
You can't say Asher.
No.
What?
I'm gonna add. I'm adding Zach Wilson because not only have Jets fans now seen not only Mike White, but they saw Josh Johnson, who has been on 13 different NFL teams, come in and throw 3 touchdowns in relief on Thursday Night Football versus a top 5, top 10 defense.
Yeah, I know we touched on it yesterday.
Zach Wilson, it's really questionable looking like. Also, the fact that not only Jets fans, but I have been on meme pages galore seeing Mike White memes. Everyone is in love with Mike White right now over Zach Wilson. Biggest loser, I think.
And I'm gonna come right back at you with another one. One of the biggest winners who I actually had written down was the Jets. They now have they can basically now they can basically now let Zach Wilson rest for the rest of the year if they want. And by the end of the season, let's be honest, Mike White will be getting love for a while, but after the season, he's probably going to be pretty bruised up and messed up because he's going to get hit so much. But yeah, it was a wild day yesterday in the NFL. And I think you guys encapsulated it perfectly with your first takes on it. Just what the fuck? What was that?
What the hell?
If we're throwing out honorable mentions, my honorable mention for losers, Mike Zimmer. And I'm going to let you guys meddle with that one. Everyone should know by now why he's the biggest loser.
I mean, he's almost Nagy level at this point.
It's so bad. You have such an all-star team, and you just find ways to lose.
I do. And obviously, Thielen's getting older, but when you have a skill position core that is a top 5 running back in the NFL, probably top 3 when you consider pass catching, probably top 2 if you consider pass catching. To a superstar wide receiver in Adam Thielen, a gonna-be superstar in Justin Jefferson, and you give up a 31-point lead.
And it's not like we have a bad defense either. Like, we have a fantastic defensive line. We have defensive backs that have been performing great. Harry the Hitman, I know he's been a little dirty the past couple seasons, but you still have Cam Dantzler. You have the linebacking core led by Eric Kendricks. Like, you have a good defense, something that you can work with at least, and he's still not getting the job done. Yeah,
and Eric Kendricks is one of the most underrated linebackers and probably defensive players in the league.
I'd have to agree with that.
We can close it out with this. I do have to say, Cam Dantzler and Justin Jefferson, why are you wearing the free Odell sweatshirt in your warm-ups?
I loved it.
Oh, and I thought it was funny too. I will also laugh at this. I don't know what you guys saw last week, but I mean, obviously LeBron commented on the whole OBJ situation. And I don't know if you saw him on Twitter yesterday. He was cheering for the Browns, cheering for DPJ, all these guys. So LeBron, just stop until you come back to the Cavs. Then you could be a fan. But other than that, cease and desist. All right, fellas, great show. Just over an hour and a half, perfect timing. Asher, we've told you, but if you ever have time on a Friday, want to come on one of my Friday college football, feel free. But I'll just be in contact. We'll be back Sunday morning, I believe. Asher, you're in.
Yep.
And Tom as well. So I will see you Wednesday. I'm gonna do a little Saturday preview on Wednesday, and then I'll see you guys on Friday with me and the 2 Matts, and then Sunday we'll be back here. Hopefully giving out some winners and giving out some good players. All right, guys, any last words?
Zach Wilson for Jerry Jeudy and Sco Dogs.
My last words are fire Mike Zimmer.